Hi guys, so today's video is going to be my Fearless Friday video for the 1960s, and as I promised in my last video, this one is sort of focusing more on the mod side of the 60s, sort of your more Twiggy, your Edie Sedgwick, sort of more bold side. Now, keep in mind too that with both of the 60s looks that I sort of recreated or was inspired by, it is sort of focusing on subcultures of the 1960s. This isn't necessarily like your 60s housewife. It's, I did this sort of hippie, which is like the late 60s. I know it kind of goes into the 70s, but trust me, I have a whole other thing planned for the 70s, so I didn't want to leave out that, hippie vibe in my last one, so that's kind of where I'm going with that. Yeah, so it is kind of focusing on subcultures. The hippies were definitely a subculture, and the mod kids were definitely a subculture as well, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. But I thought they were definitely two things that were iconic in the 60s. This especially, this is more like the Twiggy eye, the very kind of just, I tied my hair back, but they had short hair. Women chopped it off, bleached it blonde. I thought it's interesting, and it's definitely really cool, and it's something that a lot of people will be like, 60s. Yeah, so I do hope you guys enjoy this. If you want to know how to do it, then just stay tuned. Okay, so to start off this look, the first thing I did was went ahead and applied an eye primer just to keep your eyeshadow on, because eyeshadow was very bold at the time in the mod side. And another thing I did is I filled in my eyebrows just a little bit. Now, this is something that you could either take one side or the other. I know, okay, neighbors, I get it. You're pounding on the door. Cool. What are you, really? Yeah, so, Twiggy kind of left hers more natural, where, if you look at someone like Edie Sedgwick, Andy Warhol's muse, she had, very dark, thick eyebrows and stuff, so it's really up to you and kind of, your personal taste on eyebrows, what you want to do with that. So the first thing that I'm going to do with eyeshadow is to apply the green color. Now, I decided to go green. There's pictures of Twiggy where it's white. There's a lot of white, and then the black crease. There's a picture I saw with blue and sort of brown. I decided to go green just because I haven't worn green eyeshadow in a while. So anything really sort of pastel and kind of bright pastel would work. So it's up to you kind of really what color you want to work for it. So the color that I'm using is kind of a mix of two colors, both from MAC. This is Swimming eyeshadow. It's I don't know what it is, but it's this color. And then this one is Aquavert. So I'm kind of mixing both of them to get kind of a shiny pastel-y green. And I'm just taking a flat brush and I'm going to apply that all over the lid. When I apply the eyeshadow, I'm applying it in just sort of a rounded area. You kind of want to close your eye and see where your natural crease is. And that is going to be where you want to stop the eyeshadow, because that's where you're going to draw in the darker color. So just keep that in mind when you go to apply it. Okay, so once that green color is applied, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a brush like this. This is kind of like a smudgery brush, and instead of going in with sort of a sharp brush, which I will do later, I'm going to go in with this one because it kind of diffuses the line just slightly, so it's not super, super harsh at first. And the color that I'm going into is this one. This is I think, I don't know, it's something from MAC. It's not Carbon, that's Carbon, but I'm going to go into this one. It kind of comes out as a charcoal gray. I'm just getting a little bit of that onto my brush. And then now at the point where you kind of have to make it match if you started with one eye, is to basically draw out where your crease is. A lot of the looks had that very defined crease, and it's really interesting and it's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so once that sort of charcoal color is there, that's kind of really where you want to make sure that both eyes are even before you go in with the darker colors, so it's less hard to fix. Now, one thing that I did is I sort of leave a gap right here, which I will show you kind of how I finished at the end. So now I'm actually going to go into a white shimmery color, just because when I applied this I didn't like exactly how green it was, so I wanted it to be a little bit more pastel. This is just sort of a random white shimmery eyeshadow. So I'm just using a pencil brush, and this is going to help open the eyes, which they really sort of big, bright, just big eyes. That was really the focus, because you can see even the difference between the size of my eye on this side. It looks so much bigger once all that's done. So that was really a focus. And I'm also dusting that right over top of the green eyeshadow that we have there, just to lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, it's just the thinnest angle brush that you can find, and I'm going into black, which is Carbon. and you basically just want to very lightly fill in that line so that it's nice and defined and dark. Okay, so then once you get to the outer corner, then I'm just gonna sort of lightly kind of flick it out a little bit. Okay, so then once you're done with that crease and it's both somewhat even, that's the most difficult part, is just making them but even on both sides. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eyeliner and just go ahead and create that. And you don't want that much of a wing, but just sort of slight wing. And it's going to be a fairly thick liner as well, because I really like bold eyelashes, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Okay, so once the liner's done, then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply mascara, and then I'm going to apply a set of lashes. They really loved their eyelashes. It was the same thing sort of as like the more hippie side or the hippie subculture. They liked really sort of clumpy lashes. I don't know why, but they did. So I'm using these ones. They're kind of spiky to kind of sort of, I don't know, mimic that kind of clumpy effect. And then yeah, so I'm going to do that and show you how to finish up the rest of the eye. Once the top lashes is on, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the bottom lashes. Now this, when a lot of people think of 60s makeup and mod makeup, this is what they think of. Now this is really something that I don't know if Twiggy necessarily started it, but Twiggy definitely was the person who made it popular, or she definitely did it. There's actual pictures of her drawing in these sort of spiky bottom lashes. Also, my nails are kind of really cool right now with this. These again are Sally Hansen Salon Effects. I think it looks really cool now that I noticed it. Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very thin brush. This one here is sort of like a little angle brush. I use this for like really detailed liner. And what you want to do is just take black eyeliner. The eyeliner that I always use before you guys ask in like comments is this one from Prestige. It's like my favorite. I've used it for a while now. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this and just roll it onto my hand. And then I'm going to take this brush and go in that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw out little eyelashes on the bottom. Okay, so then once you finish drawing that on, if you want to, you can always go in with a Q-tip. That's kind of what I did on this side. I ended up doing these ones too long, and you can kind of just clean it up to sort of follow that shape, so sometimes it gets a little buff. So you can always clean it up that way. Yeah, and then what I'm going to do on top of that is just apply mascara to my regular bottom lashes, just so that it kind of blends in so it doesn't look as fake. It's meant to look fake, but just so it doesn't look as fake. Don't make any sense? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so for blush, it was kept fairly, like, peachy, beigey kind of color, so I'm mixing this and this color together. This is from the Coastal Scents 10 palette, and before you guys ask, the other palette that I do have is different than the Coastal Scents palette. It's actually underneath my camera right now, so I do want to show you. It is different colors, okay? You can see that. This one is just not marked. This is one that I got from beauty school. So if you guys are wondering, that's what it is. I don't know what it is and where it's from, so yeah, I can't really help you with that one. But I am just going to mix together this peach color and a little bit of that beige color and apply that just to my cheekbones. Okay, and then for lips, I was actually reading that they really just wanted lips to be nude. They would often, like, just apply foundation over it, and then they would also either make their lips look like white, which is kind of the, like, 60s version of, like, the modern day jizz lip, which I thought was kind of interesting. It was kind of like shiny, like, they said, like, alien-ish thing was kind of in. I'm just gonna go kind of straight up nude. I'm using, my lipstick kind of got hacked to death. I don't know what happened to that. This is Hue from MAC, which is kind of like a nude with a little bit of pink. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. So that kind of just kind of washes everything out. Again, the eyes were like the real main thing. But on top of it, I'm just going to take a little bit of the same sort of shimmery white eyeshadow that we used, because I really have no gloss that has that like silveryness. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this on top. And then that really kind of gives that like shimmery sort of like whitish nude color. Yeah, so again, lips not my style, but the eyes are definitely really cool, and it was sort of just similar to what they did. And yeah, so if you guys are interested in this look, let me know, and if you try it out, let me know as well. Yeah, so I do hope you guys enjoy this, and until my next video, I'll talk to all you soon.